What's going on, guys? It's B-Mails. The NFL season has begun, and the Texans start off the season one game ahead of every team in the AFC South. So the season has started out great, but I didn't get to make a final season predictions video before the season started. But let's go over this game. Brock Osweiler, let's start off with him. He looked pretty damn good for his first game. The chemistry is there. That's the only thing I was worried about. I know Brock can play. I know that he can be that average to above average quarterback that we need on this team. And it looks like he was that. He had great chemistry with DeAndre Hopkins, even though he did have a couple bad throws his way. But he also had really good chemistry with Will Fuller, which really blew me away. And let's get to the receivers. Will Fuller, 5 receptions, 107 yards, a touchdown. Guys, I was not a Will Fuller believer. I wasn't a big supporter of us drafting him. But man, even on an NFL level, this guy's a blazer. He reminds me a lot of Deshaun Jackson. I think I related him to Ted Ginn before. But man, he looks a lot more like Deshaun Jackson, just a blazer downfield, runs posts and goes. But this kid can also run the route tree. He ran a great slant in the red zone, got a catch in the red zone. I mean, he looked great. We'll see if that continues. DeAndre Hopkins, 5 receptions, 54 yards, and a touchdown. You know, he's being himself. And then you had Steven Anderson, the undrafted tight end that we were all excited about, get a few catches for 25 yards. So that was good to see. To the run game, even though Lamar Miller was only 3.8 yards a carry, what I loved is that he got his ball. He got the ball 28 times in the run game, 4 times in the pass game, 106 yards rushing, only 11 yards receiving. But it's good to see that we are solidifying an identity that we want to be a run-first offense. And this is a really good Chicago front seven. This is one of the better front sevens in the league. So for our first game and being able to dominate time of possession, especially in the second half, I was really excited about that, really proud of our football team. Now let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Brian Cushing went down early. I think he has a slight tear in his ACL. He's out for almost half the year. But man, when Below came in, I don't think this defense skipped a beat. In fact, our defense looked better once Below came in. And then our pass rush was insane. John Simon, one of my favorite players on this defense. One of the guys I told you was one of the best backup outside linebacking pass rushers in the NFL. He had a sack and a tackle for loss. You look at Jadeveon Clowney. He's supposed to have a breakout season this year. He's starting off great with a sack, 2 tackles for loss. Whitney Merciless, 2 sacks, and even A.J. Bouye came off the edge and got himself a sack. So 5 sacks, 13 quarterback hits. We were getting to the quarterback, and it was great to see our defense really mesh. Now, standout players to me, obviously Brock Osweiler had a great game. Derek Newton looked great, coming off an injury-plagued offseason. Will Fuller looked great. DeAndre Hopkins looked great. Jay Proche had great pass blocks, great run blocking. Greg Mance. Oh, I never got to talk about Nick Martin going down. Nick Martin went down for the year. Really sad to see. I thought he was our best draft pick this year. I thought he was going to really help our offensive line continue to improve. And I was kind of worried seeing that Greg Mance came in, but he was one of the better players on offense for us. Then we go to the defensive side of the ball. Max Below, I believe, was the standout player to me. His leadership, his ability to tackle just stood out to me. Whitney Merciless obviously stood out. Jonathan Joseph did a great job covering Alshon in the second half. A.J. Bouye made some big plays. Should have scooped that fumble and took it to the fucking house. But he had a great game. Bernardrick McKinney in the middle also played well next to Max Below. So really proud of this team. I'm going to quickly talk about the other division games that were all losses for the Colts, Jaguars, and Titans. So Blake Bortles against the Packers, he looked okay. He looked kind of like himself as of last year. Unfortunately for them, Chris Ivory went down with a non-football injury. He had to go to the hospital on Sunday. So he wasn't ever able to play, but TJ Yeldon didn't play well. The offensive line didn't run block for them very well. Allen Hurns, Allen Robinson, and Julius Thomas had good games. I'm telling you, this is going to be a great receiving core this year. especially with Julius Thomas getting another year in the system. On defense, they had trouble getting to the quarterback. I think they only had 1 sack, 3 quarterback hits. The guy that stood out to me, though, was Jalen Ramsey. I think Jalen Ramsey looked like the best player on that defense already. So it's going to be interesting to see him play against DeAndre Hopkins. But their tackle duo did block pretty well for Blake Bortles. I had Julius Thomas in fantasy. He had a great game. Defensively, they just didn't produce much. I honestly think that Jalen Ramsey, who didn't give up a reception that game, was the best player on the field. To the Vikings and Titans, Marcus Mariota played pretty badly, threw a pick six on an ill-advised throw to the flat. He also had a fumble, I believe. DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry couldn't get anything going in the run game. Their standout player on offense was obviously Tajay Sharp, but I do think Jack Conklin and Taylor Lewan had a pretty good game. Defensively, this team still can't get to the quarterback. 0 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, no turnovers, I believe, by the Tennessee defense. So I think that this team, still has a long way to go. They were playing a good Minnesota Vikings team. Obviously, I still think the Vikings are very competitive, even without Teddy Bridgewater. But Sean Hill had a very pedestrian game. Adrian Peterson had an awful game. So I think the Titans had every reason to win this game, but they did not. So let's go to the Colts. Probably the only team in the NFL whose quarterback can score 4 touchdowns on 385 yards and still lose the game. He was the best quarterback this week, so unfortunately Andrew Luck is back to Andrew Luck form, it looks like. But they still can't run the ball. Frank Gore, like I said, is just going to be a pedestrian running back, probably below average this year. Receiving-wise, Philip Dorsett looked great. T.Y. looked good, and Dante Moncrief looked good. So it's going to be interesting to see how our defensive backs mesh. But I think it's this Colts offensive line that is actually going to be the reason why they don't sweep us this year. I think we're going to split with the Colts this year. I think we could sweep them, but I don't see them sweeping us. I think their team is too weak at every position just about, other than quarterback and wide receiver. Defensively, 1 sack, 6 quarterback hits, pedestrian pass rush. I mean, it's going to be up to Osweiler, Lamar Miller, and our receivers to beat this team. Our defense will keep it from being a shootout with Andrew Luck. But we got to score points because against this defense that we should score points against. So overall, guys, we're 1 game ahead in the division. It's a great way to start the year. But one thing I did want to rant about, for everyone that watched every single snap of this game, the guy that consistently was getting burnt on defense wears the number 25 in Kareem Jackson. Every time a big play was made by the Chicago Bears, it was Kareem Jackson in coverage, and it was pissing me off because it reminds me of when we had Bryce McCain, and every time there was a big play, it came out of the slot, and Bryce McCain, I think he wore number 21, was chasing after the receiver because he got burnt. That's what Kareem Jackson reminds me of. I don't know what's up with this dude. He had a pretty good year in 2014. 2015, I know he was injured a little bit, but he fell off, and it looks like he's still falling off. So I don't know what's up with Kareem Jackson. I hope Kevin Johnson can step up. I told you guys, look for Kevin Johnson to possibly take Kareem's spot because he's playing pretty horrible. Another thing, it's good to see J.J. Watt out there. Even though he didn't get a sack today, you could tell he wasn't in football shape. He hasn't really been in camp. He had back surgery, so he wasn't 100%, but he was out there for most of the snaps, and he was making a difference. He wasn't getting there because of that difference in conditioning, but he opened it up, obviously, for John Simon, Whitney Merciless, Jadeveon Clowney, A.J. Bouye. He definitely opened it up, and that's a big reason why we dominated the second half. And this is what I want to see from us the rest of the year. Be able to run the ball, be able to throw the deep ball, be able to throw one-on-one to DeAndre Hopkins, and not turn the ball over too much, and just play defense. That's all we got to do. We can win plenty of games playing football the right way. Run the ball first, play defense, and have a decent pass game. So anyways, tell me what you guys think below. Really excited for this year. This to me solidified that this offense has the chemistry it needs and that this defense is still going to be good. So tell me what you guys think below. Give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time.